Turkey's military has conducted air and naval exercise in the eastern Mediterranean, affirming news by the Libyan Government of National Accord GNA forces in this regard. 8 frigates and corvettes participated along with 17 warplanes based in the central Turkish airbase of Eskir in a 2,000-kilometer round trip, it said in a statement. The military said the drill was meant to test and develop Turkey's ability to command and execute long-distance operations. Except for Iran, the Middle East and North Africa MENA region is still going through different stages of the first wave of the novel coronavirus pandemic. While Egypt and Saudi Arabia, the two largest countries in the region, have reached the peak of the first wave, most countries in the region are witnessing notable drops in the number of cases, indicating a near end of the first wave. According to experts, Iran, however, can be considered to be the only country currently going through a second wave. According to the United Nations, at least 8 mass graves have reportedly been discovered in Libya. The United Nations Support Mission in Libya and the United States Embassy requested prompt and transparent inquiry into this crime. International law requires that the authorities conduct prompt, effective, and transparent investigations into all alleged cases of unlawful deaths. More than 7.66 million people have been reported to be infected by the novel coronavirus globally. This caused by the virus worldwide reached a total of 424,757 cases. More than 210 countries and territories reported infections since the first cases were identified in China in December 2019. The outbreak of the pandemic has dealt a shock to the global economy with unprecedented speed. The Tunisian Ministry of Health announced that the country did not record any new coronavirus cases for the 9th day in a row, which confirms the success of the government plan to limit the spread of the pandemic. The ministry stated that the total number of confirmed cases in the country is 49, all of whom are under medical supervision, with over 989 recoveries. The Director General of the National Observatory of New and Emergency Disease announced that for over 40 days, 15 of the 24 Tunisian states did not record any COVID-19 cases, while 5 other states did not report any local cases for over 37 days. Tunisia's Ennahda movement continues to rally support for its proposal to expand the government coalition to include the Heart of Tunisia movement, which is rejected by the People's Movement and Tahya Tunis. The Heart of Tunisia movement, chaired by Nabil Karoui, announced that it would participate in the government if it received 7 ministries, which would affect negotiations with the rest of the parties of the government coalition led by Ennahda. Both the President and the Prime Minister agreed it was necessary to bring all parties of the government coalition together, but without expanding it to include people who are being prosecuted in cases of financial corruption. Iran has asked France to decrypt the black boxes from doomed Ukraine International Airlines Flight 752. The Iranian envoy to the International Civil Aviation Organization (ICAO) in Montreal said Tehran had enlisted the help of France's BEA Air Accident Agency to download and read the data of the flight recorder. Iran has admitted that it mistakenly shot down the Kiev-bound jetliner on January 8th, killing 176 people. Yemeni parties have slammed Houthi militias for issuing a new commons law by which each Yemeni should pay 20% of whatever goods he has or obtains on land or sea to the militia. The parties asked the parliament and the international community to criminalize the Houthi Act, saying it contradicts international justice and the teachings of Islam. The National Alliance of Yemeni Political Forces, which includes more than 10 parties backing the country's legitimate government, expressed condemnation of the new measures announced by the group. Palestinian officials have welcomed the international community's opposition to Israel's West Bank annexation plans, but want the pressure to be permanent. Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu has announced that he will annex parts of the West Bank, including the strategic Jordan Valley and dozens of Jewish settlements, in line with President Donald Trump's Middle East peace plan. Netanyahu has signaled he will begin moving forward with annexation next month. The Trump plan envisions the creation of a Palestinian state, but on reduced territory and without meeting the key Palestinian demand of having its capital in East Jerusalem. Saudi Arabia's strategy in the oil market has won a vote of confidence from the American investment bank JP Morgan, which predicts the kingdom will come out on top in the global energy business. JPM said the kingdom, which has been leading global efforts to stabilize the global oil market in the wake of an unprecedented decline in demand because of the COVID-19 pandemic, will see its share of the market rise from the current level of 11.6% to around 15%, its highest level since the 1980s, by 2025. Preparations to reopen churches in Kuwait were in full swing as the country gradually returns to normal life amid the coronavirus crisis. The churches, which have suspended services for 3 months, were sterilized on Friday as part of ongoing efforts to reopen them for worshippers. Archbishop Raymond Eid, the head of the Marinate parish in Kuwait, said the church will be ready to receive people in a month. In the sprawling refugee camps of Darfur, the war-scared western region of Sudan, officials said the elderly are falling sick and dying at astonishing rates. In North Darfur's provincial capital of El Fasher, some say that they scroll through a dozen death announcements each day, another old friend, relative, community leader lost with dizzying speed. Doctors in the region's few functioning hospitals report an influx of patients with symptoms like a lost sense of taste, breathing troubles, and fevers. The King Salman Humanitarian Aid and Relief Center (KS Relief) continues efforts to support Syrian refugees amid the coronavirus pandemic. The KS Relief Clinics, one of the organization's projects for Syrian refugees in the Za'atari camp in Jordan, treated more than 6,400 patients of various medical conditions during the past week. Meanwhile, in the Lebanese town of Arsel, Al Amal Medical Center and KS Relief have launched an awareness campaign for the refugees to prevent the spread of COVID-19. Italian Prime Minister said he gave prosecutors a full account of how he handled the coronavirus pandemic that devastated Italy, adding he did not fear a judicial probe would be opened. Health experts said had the area been quarantined, many lives would have been saved. The team has already met with senior officials in Lombardy, who said it was up to Rome to decide whether certain areas should be shut. Dozens of people tested positive for the coronavirus in Beijing as part of the city were locked down after the emergence of a new cluster linked to a wholesale food market. People were ordered to stay home at 11 residential estates in South Beijing's Fengyun district, and the nearby Invadi market was closed as authorities raced to contain the outbreak that has fueled fears of resurgence in local transmission. The National Health Commission said most of the 6 new domestic infections reported Saturday were linked to the meat and vegetable market. For days now, Spain's daily coronavirus death toll has been on hold, generating widespread uncertainty about the real state of the epidemic that has claimed more than 27,000 lives. The Health Ministry's Emergencies Coordinator, Fernando Simon, who for months have given a daily briefing on the pandemic's evolution, acknowledged the astonishment and confusion generated by the figures. On May 25th, the ministry charted its method of collecting data on confirmed cases and fatalities, initially giving a daily death toll of between 50 and 100.